What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at some more single stat player props on PrizePicks and the various sports betting websites. So if you're into betting on NBA real life points, assists, rebounds, and three-point makes, you're going to want to stay tuned and watch this video for sure. Now, yesterday's video, we went 6 for 8 on our picks. I would say that that's a pretty good success rate. I'm hoping to improve. As crazy as that sounds, it's hard to get much better than 6 out of 8, but maybe we can go a perfect 8 out of 8 today. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. If this is your first time on the channel, thank you for tuning in. My name's CJ, and on this channel, we talk all things single player daily fantasy sports. Right now, our primary focus is PrizePicks, and we're in the middle of the NBA season, so that is the sport of choice for right now. If you're into that sort of thing, definitely hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. I drop content every single day, at least Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday. So I appreciate all your support. We are definitely on our way to 900 subscribers, and I'm absolutely thrilled at the outpouring of support from you guys. Now, yesterday we set a goal of 27.5 likes. I took the over on 27.5 likes, meaning we needed 28 or more. Well, you guys crushed it. You smashed it. So guess what? Just like PrizePicks, and they jack up their projections, I'm going to jack up the projection today. Yeah, I'm going to go to 29.5, meaning we've got to get at least 30 likes or more. I think we can do it with almost 900 subscribers, with hundreds of you watching these videos daily. I'm going to take the over on 29.5 and say that we can get at least 30 likes or more. Now, unlike yesterday's NBA slate of just 4 games, today's slate is absolutely massive. We've got a huge slate of games. So I'm going to have some picks for you from the earlier game that's tipping off at 3 p.m. Eastern time. By the way, it's 1:30 p.m. here. So hopefully I can get this video done and out of the way, and we can get this uploaded and out to you in time. So let's talk news real quick so that we can get through this. Aleksej Pokusevski is out for the Oklahoma City Thunder on Friday with an arm injury. Mo Bamba, hip, questionable for the Orlando Magic on Friday. Looks like Gorgui Dieng, shoulder, is questionable for the San Antonio Spurs on Friday. Joe Ingles, Utah Jazz swingman, he is not listed on Utah's Friday injury report, so that's good news for them. Jordan Clarkson, ankle, probable for the Utah Jazz Friday. Looks like Clarkson will be back in the lineup for the Utah Jazz. Moving on down the line here, looking for any other news for Friday slate. Thomas Satoransky back is probable for the Bulls on Friday. Of course, in case you haven't heard, Zach LaVine's going to be missing some time for the Chicago Bulls, so Satoransky should step into more minutes and more production. Dwight Howard, knee, is questionable for the 76ers on Friday. Looks like Utah's Derek Favors is dealing with a knee injury. He's doubtful for Friday's game. Any other big news? Wayne Ellington, rest, listed out for the Pistons on Friday. Dennis Smith Jr., knee, is out again for the Pistons on Friday. Doug McDermott, ankle, questionable for the Pacers on Friday. Pacers, Miles Turner, ankle, questionable for Friday night. Michael Carter-Williams, ankle, is going to be ruled out for Orlando on Friday. Nerlens Noel's dealing with an ankle injury. He's questionable for the Knicks on Friday. And I think that's going to do it. I mean, those are some pretty big names. That's the most important news. So with that out of the way, we can start talking about some of these games and some of these prop picks that we're really liking. Again, 6 for 8 yesterday. We're going to try and improve on that right here, right now. So for points, I've got a couple of names that I want to talk about for today's early game. The first guy is going to be Mike Conley, who's projected at 17.5 real life points versus the Indiana Pacers. That game tips off at 3:10 p.m. Eastern time over on PrizePicks. So they've got him at 17.5. My gut reaction is that that might be a little bit too high, especially with Joe Ingles, Clarkson, some of these other guys returning for the Utah Jazz. So I'm looking to take the under on Michael Conley Jr. Now, first things first, let's look at the game totals and the spread here. It looks like this one's projected for 233 points. So the totals are pretty good here. Anytime it's 230 or more points, my eyes get big. I get excited because more points equals more real life points for these players. Assists, rebounds, 3-point attempts, all that stuff goes up when the game totals are high. So liking that. What I don't like, or what worries me or cautions me a little bit about this one, is that the Utah Jazz are a 10-point favorite, meaning that the spread is 10 points, and that's pretty big. That indicates that there could be blowout potential, blowout risk in this game. So I'm a little worried about that. Hopefully Indiana can make the game competitive and stick around long enough for the overplays that we want to play to hit their goals. So there you have it for the game breakdown. Now let's take a look here on numberfire.com, which is a completely free site for any of you guys to go out and use. All it takes is a little bit of time and know-how, and I'm providing you with the know-how in today's video. So at 17.5, it looks like he is projected to go for 17 according to Numberfire, which would be good for an under. If we take the under on Conley, we need him to score 17 or less points. So far, things are looking a-okay to me. Now, the next site we use is NBA.com/players. You could type in the player's name of your choice. I do a control click so that it opens up a new tab, and you could see that Mike Conley's name pops right up there. Now, on his player card here, 16.5 points per game puts him under 17.5. So our initial gut reaction of going under is looking better and better with his projection and his season average being lower than 17.5. So let's look at traditional splits. We click on that. Then we click advanced filters to bring up this little sub menu here. And then for the season segment, we can change it from all games and look at just his last 5 games so we could get a better idea of how he's been performing lately. Now, in that 5-game window, he's appeared in 4 out of those 5 games. And in that time, he is averaging 15.8 points per game. So still under 17.5. So things are looking great here. We've got him averaging less than 17.5 points per game for the season, averaging less than 17.5 points per game for his last 5 games. And on top of that, he's projected to score less than 17.5 points. So all 3 things looking pretty good here for Mike Conley. Now, the last thing that I like to look at is rotowire.com. Now, rotowire.com, another completely free website. You can go here to take a look at different player props. In this case, we're looking at NBA, we're looking at points, and we want to look at Michael Conley. So you can see that DraftKings Sportsbook at 17.5 points. They are showing an under is the way to go here for Mike Conley. So far, so good. Same thing with FanDuel, -122 on the under, 17.5 points on BetMGM, -125 on the under. And then last but not least, PointsBet, they've got him at 17.5 as well, and you can see he's a -125 to go under. So guys, for me, all the stars are aligning here. The under on Mike Conley's actual points, 17.5, looking like a strong way to go today. So on the other side of the ball from this game, I've got Malcolm Brogdon at 19.5 points over on PrizePicks. I don't think that this is enough points for Malcolm Brogdon. I think there's a chance that he can go over in this particular game and matchup. We've already talked about the high totals from this game, 230 plus points. So that's looking good. I am a little cautious. I am a little bit worried about blowout risk, blowout potential, as Utah is a 10-point favorite, as we discussed earlier. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at his projections and see how things are looking for Malcolm Brogdon today. All right, so he's projected at 19.5 actual points. I've got him at 19.2, so you know, it's in the ballpark, 19.2, 19.5. There's a little bit of a room there for, you know, margin for error, we'll call it. So 19 to 19.5 points looking like the way to go here on Malcolm Brogdon. So let's move back over to NBA.com. We'll type his name in here, open up his player card, and you can see that for the season, he is averaging 21.4 points per game. So we just need him to have more of an average scoring game. If he has an average scoring game, which sounds bad when you say average, but in this case, average is good because his average is 21.4 points per game. So that would be great if he just had an average scoring game today. So we go back here to traditional splits, advanced filters, change the season segment from all games to just the last 5 games. And in his last 5 games, he's appeared in 4 of those. He is averaging 23 points per game, which is actually higher than his season average and much higher than his 19.5 point prop today on PrizePicks. So I am liking the way that this is shaping up here for Malcolm Brogdon. Now, the last thing we do is go back to RotoWire, and we could type in Malcolm Brogdon's name, and you could see that DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got him at 19.5, and he's a -118 for the over, so that's looking good. FanDuel, 19.5, a slight over there at 112. BetMGM, they've got him at 19.5, 125 over there, so even better. Nice strong position people are taking. Now, this one's a little curious to me. PointsBet, they've got him at 19.5 there. People are actually taking the under, a -125 on the under. So we're getting some mixed signals here. His projection is slightly lower than 19.5 at 19.2, but his season averages and last 5 game averages are both significantly higher than 19.5 points. Plus, the betting lines over on RotoWire indicate that it's a mix here. We're not seeing a clear path, but I will mention that 3 out of the 4 sites are taking the over on 19.5 points. So if I'm leaning one way or the other, it's probably going to be on the over, as I do like the totals from this game, as long as it can stay close and competitive long enough for him to get that number. So with that one out of the way, we're going to move over to the assist category. And we're going to start with another guy from this early game, which is Demonte Sabonis, who is projected for 4.5 assists. Now, this seems awfully low to me. I get it. Utah is a tough defensive team, but 4.5 assists, come on now. Have you seen this guy in the NBA All-Star Skills Challenge? He can pass the ball. He's known to get more than 4.5 assists. Heck, I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's a chance he gets this in the first half, that he has the opportunity to potentially get 4 to 5 assists in just the first half of gameplay. So that's my bold prediction for Demonte Sabonis. Now, what we'll do is go back to Number Fire here. We'll click on the assist column. And once we do that, you can see that Demonte Sabonis is actually projected for 4.8 assists, putting him over this 4.5 assist number, which is good. So if you think about 4 assists, 5 assists, more often than not, he's leaning closer to the 5 range, which is where we need him to be today, 5 or more dimes. So I'm liking the way things are looking for Demonte Sabonis based on the projection so far. Now we're going to type his name in here on NBA.com, open this guy up, and you can see, according to his player card, 6 assists per game for the season averages. Loving the way that's looking. That's what I mean. 4.5 assists just seems way too low. So I'm going to click his stats tab. We're going to go down to traditional splits, advanced filters, change this to the last 5 games, and run it. All right, and you can see that in his last 5 games, he's appeared in 4 games. His average is still sitting right there at 6 assists. So his season average and his last 5 game average are unchanged. They are both exactly 6 assists. So I'm loving the way that the over is looking here for Demonte Sabonis even more so. Now we head back to RotoWire. There's a little toolbar at the bottom of RotoWire. You click the assist category and boom, we are magically transported to the single stat prop that we are looking for. Now, DraftKings, they've got him at 4.5. People are smashing the over there. He's a -127 to go over 4.5 assists. Loving the way the juice is flowing there. Now on FanDuel, 4.5 assists. People are taking him for the over there as well. Same thing with BetMGM at a -125. And then last but not least, PointsBet, they've got him at 4.5. And once again, the over is just looking like the way to go. So let's wrap it up and summarize. He's projected to go over 4.5 assists for the season. He is averaging 6 assists. For the last 5 games, he's averaging 6 assists. And everybody on all of the various sports books are taking the over. So, I mean, it all adds up to a pretty clear overplay for me on Demonte Sabonis. I think I'll take my chances and click the over on Demonte Sabonis and 4.5 dimes today. All right, the next guy up is going to be Brandon Ingram. The New Orleans Pelicans take on the Washington Wizards tonight. That game tips off at 7:10 p.m. So before we start getting into anything, let's take a look at this game, talk about the game totals and the spread in this one. And it looks like this one is a tremendous total. I mean, 242.5 points, guys. It's hard for me to click the under on any of the stars from this game. That is why I won't do it with Brandon Ingram. I'm clicking the over on this 4.5 assist number. Tons and tons of points to be scored here. Plus, the spread is just 3, meaning that the game's going to stay close, competitive, and not be a blowout. So I'm loving the way things are shaping up. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and do a search here for Brandon Ingram so we can find him more quickly. And there you have it. He is also at 4.8 assists, just like his buddy Demonte Sabonis, who is also at 4.8. So loving the over so far, looking good. Let's move over and take a look at some of his averages and get a better idea of how Brandon Ingram distributes the basketball on a nightly basis. And you can see for the season, 4.8 assists, meaning that he is more often than not leaning toward the 5 assist number than he is the 4 assist number. So I'm loving that as well. Now, we got to look at his last 5 games because I think those are typically more telling than the season averages because a lot changes, you know, especially after like trade deadlines. You got injuries, you got different chemistry on some of these teams. So I like looking at the more recent game logs and seeing how those shape up. Now, good news for us, his assist number is actually on the rise. So he was at 4.8 assists for the season. He is now at 6 assists per game in his last 5 games, appearing in 4 out of those last 5 game windows. So loving the over still with Brandon Ingram here. Now the last stop is of course RotoWire. We're going to type in Brandon Ingram's name and you could see that when I type his name up, we're not getting any action on DraftKings Sportsbook. They are at a deadlock here at -113 on the over and the under. FanDuel, a little different story. It looks like the over is the way to go at -112. Bigger favorite here to go over on BetMGM at -120. And then last but not least, PointsBet at 4.5 assists. The over is definitely the way to go at -125. So I'm liking the way things are shaping up here for Brandon Ingram and the over. I'll recap it for you guys. This game has super high totals, a very close competitive spread. Loving the way that that's shaping up. Plus, if you look at his season averages, he is over 4.5 assists for the season. Plus, his assists are actually trending upward in his last 5 games. He's averaging 6 assists there. And then last but not least, all of the different sites out there tend to favor the over in terms of the way that the action or the juice is flowing on Brandon Ingram and this assist prop. So yes, I'm sticking to my guns here, and I think that this is the way to go for Brandon Ingram. All right, so with that one out of the way, we are going to move to the next single stat category, and we got to talk some rebounds, right? We've talked points, we've talked assists. Now let's discuss some rebounds. So moving on up here, we're going to click rebounds, and for rebounds, I got 2 names that I want to talk about. One is Jonas Valanciunas, who is projected right now at 13.5 boards. He's got a pretty tough matchup against Nikola Vucevic of the Chicago Bulls. But I like Jonas Valanciunas to go over 13.5 rebounds. He has just been a beast in his last few games, pulling down boards, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So we'll head back to Number Fire. We will click the rebound category, and he should be at the top of the list, and he absolutely is near the top of the list. But before we get into that, let's talk about the game totals and the spread in this one. Moving on over here. Boom. There it is. We've got 220.5 points to be scored here. Plus, it's a 3.5 point spread. So the totals aren't super high like the Washington game, but still decent at 220.5 points. And the spread looks like it's going to stay close and competitive. So I'm not too worried about this one blowing out whatsoever. All right, with that out of the way, Jonas Valanciunas projected at 13.9 boards, so he's almost at 14 rebounds, which is exactly where we need him to be, 14 or more boards in this matchup, especially if we're looking to take the over here. So with that in mind, we can move on over here and see how he's been performing, both on the season averages and his last 5 games. So let's open up his player card, and you can see for the season, his rebounds are floating right around 13 boards per game, a little under 13, so 12.8. Now that's less than 13.5, so that's a little bit of a knock against taking the over on Jonas Valanciunas. But where things really start to shine for Joe Val is when we click on his last 5 games, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here when we pull this up. All right, so in his last 5 games, he's appeared in all 5 of them. You can see that his rebound average goes way up in his last 5 games, 15.4 rebounds per game in his last 5 appearances. So I'm loving that as a big boost to the confidence in me taking the over on Jonas Valanciunas at 13.5 boards. Now, we click this magical rebound button. It takes us right to where we want to go here. And we type in Joe Val's name. And you can see that DraftKings Sportsbook not really seeing any juice flowing under or over. He is at a tie right now. But FanDuel, they are taking a slight overplay on Jonas Valanciunas at 13.5 boards. Now, stronger position for the bettors over on BetMGM, minus 120 for the over there, and the same for PointsBet, minus 120 for the over there as well. So Jonas Valanciunas at 13.5 rebounds. I think I'm sticking to my guns here and continuing to take the over. Nothing has really swayed me enough to make me feel like I should flip-flop, or maybe I should just walk away and fade this pick altogether. I'm sticking to the over with Jonas Valanciunas. All right, so we talked about a big guy in rebound prop. We're going to talk about a little guy in a rebound prop, and that is CJ McCollum, the shooting guard for the Portland Trail Blazers. They take on the San Antonio Spurs tonight at 8:40 p.m., and he's at 3.5 rebounds, and I don't think 3.5 rebounds is quite enough for Mr. CJ McCollum. So let's look at the game totals and the spread from this one. All right, 235 total points. Loving that total. 230 or more points makes me a happy camper. Now, the other thing that shines for me is that at 2.5 point spread, this game's going to stay close and competitive, meaning CJ McCollum should get plenty of run in this game and play a full complement of minutes. So I don't expect this one to blow out, according to the way that the Vegas lines are shaping up here. So the next thing we do is take a look at McCollum. And he is projected at 4.2 rebounds, which puts him over 3.5. So that, again, is a good sign for me. We just need him to pull down 4 boards or more in this matchup, which looks like it could be doable here. Now, the next thing we do is move over to NBA.com. We'll type in CJ McCollum's name. By the way, guys, if you don't have time to do all this research, guess what? I offer a Patreon membership for 20 bucks a month. You support me as a creator, and on top of that, I do a ton of research. I go through the PrizePicks board every single day for points, assists, rebounds, 3-point makes, and I go and I find the very best plays for you guys. I put it all in a little handy dandy spreadsheet, easy for you to read. I post it to Patreon, and then that saves you guys a ton of time, a ton of work and effort, and you know, hopefully we land on some very good picks. The spreadsheets have been absolutely kicking butt, so I'm going to keep that going for all of you Patreon members out there. Now, 3.5 rebounds. He is averaging 3.9 for the season, meaning that more often than not, he leans toward 4 boards than 3 boards. So I'm liking the over once again here on CJ McCollum. Now, things are going a little wonky here. All right, there we go. We click traditional splits, advanced filters, change the game segment to his last 5, run the report. And on that report, 4.6 rebounds per game. So things are trending upward for CJ McCollum and his rebound averages, which makes me very excited to click the over on CJ McCollum's 3.5 point rebound prop. All right, final step. Let's see how the various sports books are stacking up here. So DraftKings Sportsbook, 3.5 boards. He is a minus 134 for the over. Loving the way that's looking. FanDuel, 3.5 rebounds, minus 134 on the over. And then people are taking an even more aggressive stance here on BetMGM, minus 139 on the 3.5 rebounds. And PointsBet, they don't have a rebound prop up for CJ McCollum. So, guys, I'm not seeing anything to persuade me to get off of my initial gut reaction of going over on CJ McCollum for the rebounds. His projection's looking good. The game totals and the spread are looking quite healthy. His averages for the season are right around 4 rebounds per game. His last 5 game averages are over 4 rebounds per game. And you could see that the way that the juice is flowing across the various sportsbook, man, they're betting on the over, and I'm sticking with it. I like the over on CJ McCollum at 3.5 boards. All right, the last 2 names we're going to talk about are going to be 3-point shooters. So we're looking at 3-point makes, and I've got 2 names. One of these guys is going to appear in today's 3 p.m. game, and that is Donovan Mitchell. Now he's at 2.5 3-point makes, and I don't think that that is doing him justice. No, I think that he's a better shooter than that. I think that he can make 3 3-pointers or more in this game, in this matchup. So let's go take a look at some of the numbers for Donovan Mitchell here. And we don't have any projections for Donovan Mitchell to look at. Unfortunately, Number Fire does not offer that prop. But what we can do is dig into some of his averages and take a look at how he has shot the ball here in recent memory. And you can see for the season, he is attempting 8.7 3-pointers per game, almost 9 3-point attempts per game, guys. So that's a pretty healthy number. Now on that almost 9 attempts, he is making 3.4 of them. So that is well over 2.5. I'm liking the way things are looking. Let's move it to his last 5 games and see how things look there. So we run this little report, scroll on down the line here, and look at this. Whoo, what do my eyes behold? 3-point attempts are up to over 10. 10 3-point attempts in his last 5 games. 10.4 to be exact. And on those 10.4 attempts, he is making 3.2. So I'm loving the fact that he is still over 3 3-point makes in his season averages and his last 5 games. Things are looking great here. Now the last thing we're going to do is hit the 3-point button down at the bottom. It transports us to the 3-point prop category. And you can see at 2.5 3-point prop on DraftKings Sportsbook, he is a -141. Loving that. FanDuel, 2.5. People are smashing the over there as well. -138, super strong. And then BetMGM, -139 on the over. And finally, PointsBet, -150, guys. I don't know what else you want me to do but to just tell you to go play Donovan Mitchell over on his 3-point prop before they change it on you after this game or after this video goes up live on YouTube. So loving that Donovan Mitchell prop for sure. And the last guy I want to talk about is John Wall. Now, John Wall has been shooting the 3-ball much better in his last few games, but come on. For his career, he has not been known as a good 3-point shooter. Maybe he's evolved. Maybe he's changed his game a little bit. Maybe he's turned into a little bit of a better 3-point shooter. But come on. I don't know if this cat can really change his stripes like that. So I'm taking the under on John Wall at 2.5 3-point makes. I don't think he's going to get 3 makes or more. I think he's good for just about 2 makes in this one. But let's dig into it and see how John Wall's been performing from the 3-point line this season. So we pull this up here on NBA.com. We click the stats category, move on down the line here, and you can see for the season, he's attempting 6.4 threes per game. Now on those 6.4 attempts, he has just 2.1 makes per game, which means that between 2 and 3 3-point makes, he is leaning more toward the 2 end of the spectrum, which is exactly where we need him to be. So let's switch this up. We'll go from season averages to 5-game averages and run that report and see if he improves on 2.1 makes or if it actually goes down. Now, in his last 5 games, he is attempting 8.5 3-point attempts per game, and his makes are actually up to 3 3-point makes. But come on. As I mentioned before, I just don't believe that this guy is going to continue to shoot the ball this well. 35%. 35%? Let me see. Do I have a career number for John Wall? Maybe we could just look at his percentages over his career here. All right, we'll go all the way back to 2010, 2011. Look, 3-point percentage, 29%. All right, that one's a fluke, 7%. 26%, 35%, 30%, 35%, 32%, 37%, 30%, 32.3%. All right, so he's down there in the low 30s, man. I think he's just shooting it too well at the moment. I think he's got to come back down to earth, and I'm hoping that this is the game. This is the matchup where that happens. So we click 3-point prop. We type in John Wall's name, and let's take a look and see how people are betting on this prop here. Well, on DraftKings Sportsbook, he is a -125 to go under 2.5 makes, so that's looking good. Even better look here on FanDuel Sportsbook, he is a -140 to go under 2.5. BetMGM, they don't have a 3-point prop for John Wall, but as you can see on PointsBet, man, -170, guys. -170 to go under. that is good enough for me. I'm going to take the under on John Wall and these 3-point makes and hope that, he just returns back to the John Wall that we've come to know over his career, where he's floating down there between 30 and 32% on his career makes. So there you go, guys. That's going to do it for today's video. Let's see if we can improve on our 6 for 8 success yesterday. Hopefully you guys played some of those picks from yesterday's video. Hopefully you'll land on some good picks in today's video. I appreciate you all tuning in. Remember, our goal today, 29.5 likes. I'm taking the over, meaning we got to get at least 30 likes or more on this video. You guys killed it yesterday. I think you're going to kill it again. So appreciate all your support. This is CJ for Out of Bounds DFS, and if you've enjoyed this video, well, tune into tomorrow's video. Maybe we'll have one. It's Saturday. Who knows? I might get crazy. Might get weird. We'll catch you on the next one, guys. Have a good night tonight and good luck on PrizePicks. Peace.